Hello, you're tuned into the Kiana Frequency. You know why you're here. You read the title. Thank you for being here. I'm happy that we can do this together and that you even felt intrigued to click on this, okay? And to have a deeper understanding, a deeper level of knowledge about who I am as a vessel, okay? And as a soul as well. So, people always ask me, Kiana, how did you become psychic? Now, this has a lot of moving parts, so I decided to write it down. So I'm reading from a notepad over here. So stay with me. And they ask questions like, how did you know you were a medium? And honestly, it didn't start with me lighting candles and chanting under the moon. It started with heartbreak, with confusion, and with me dodging job interviews. Okay, let me explain. I was 19 in my first real relationship, and I had just moved into my first apartment with a partner. So technically it's my second apartment, but it's my first apartment with someone else. Anyways, I had just quit another job because I was a serial job quitter at the time. And I was supposed to go to this interview to be a receptionist at this car place, but I skipped it. I just needed a break. Life was heavy. The relationship was rocky at the time, and my trust issues were loud. So he had trust issues too. He was still entertaining random girls online, and I was sitting there fuming, like steam coming out of my ears. And to be fair, I wasn't perfect either. I hadn't told him that before we got serious, I had a little sugar daddy situation. So we were both being messy and trying to learn honesty while living together. 9 months in, okay? 9 months in our relationship, not the apartment. This is brand spanking new at this time, okay? So, and then I saw a TikTok that said, ask the universe for signs. And that's where it began. I was only dipping my toe into spirituality at that point, and I had a few crystals from high school, and I used to sneak my mom's tarot deck to read for my friends, but I didn't know I had gifts yet at all. So I started small. I'd ask the universe for signs, like if I should leave this relationship, show me 444, and if I should stay, show me 222. And then I'd see 333, and I'd be like, God, the universe has jokes. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? And then I realized this energy has a personality. Spirit communicates. And tarot became my mirror. My subconscious started talking back. And then in November 2025, right after my birthday, I randomly joined an Energy Lightworkers Live. She looked at me through the screen and she said she saw, not exactly what she said, but she said she saw an elephant on my chest full of betrayal and suspicion, and that I was with someone I couldn't trust. Now imagine, I'm on a couch, my man is massaging my feet right now, and she's reading me like an open book. We both froze. And that moment cracked something open within me. After that, I joined her collectives. The energy worker, I joined her collective. It was called the Weirdo Collective. She became like a mama dragon, putting us under her wing and teaching us how to love ourselves and heal ourselves. And that's where my real awakening began. But healing isn't pretty, so after that live, I started having intense dreams, betrayal dreams. And I saw Ricky with people close to me over and over. It was my spirit replaying my deepest wound, showing me what was needed to be released, showing me what needed to be released badly. And eventually I reached a breaking point. I needed space to recharge, to breathe, to find myself again. So with nowhere to go and 3 cats at the time, I packed up, I grabbed my tarot deck and drove off saying, I'll figure it out. Freedom was all a small town girl like me ever wanted. So I started using tarot to ask the real questions. Like, why do I self-sabotage? And what am I so afraid of? And what is the root of my pain? That was a good one, y'all. And that's when it happened. My psychic gifts weren't something that I gained, is basically what this message is about. There's something that I uncovered. So as I shed everything that I wasn't, the too loud, the too sensitive, the too late, the too lazy, the light inside me started shining through. And I realized that my brilliance was never gone. It was just hidden under layers and layers and layers of survival. That's how my psychic and mediumship abilities came online. Slowly, naturally, and through self-liberation. I didn't chase magic, I became it. And I promise you, you don't need to go through homelessness or heartbreak just to find your gifts. You just have to ask, to believe, and to be willing to listen. Yeah. Ask, believe, and be willing to listen. And this really goes over the law of no interference, right? The divine cannot interfere if you do not allow them or give them permission. So, all I did was exercise the muscle. I asked God for signs and I got them. And then I started to ask the light beings around me for more. And before I knew it, my whole life turned into a constant communication with the divine. Now my reality reflects the impossible every single day. Because I finally stopped trying to be who I was told to be. And I remembered who I've always been. That's how I became psychic. That's how I became me, or another version of me. So I really hoped that this spoke to someone. I hope that this kind of gave you some insight on how things work. You know, I really wanted to write this down, to just have this in words so I could edit, right? And something that I was really particular on editing was I exercised this muscle, the intuition. It's a muscle. It's something that you have to use. If you ask God for a sign saying like, oh, well, if I'm going to get the job, let me see a yellow car today or something like that. And you see the yellow car. It's up to you to use your discernment, your intuition, those gifts. Confirmation burp. My intuition told me that that burp was confirmation that what I'm speaking is the truth. I'm exercising that muscle. And you must exercise that muscle to say, oh, that yellow car was the one I was looking for. So I think that's really important to add. And this was just me giving some insight on the type of person that I am. Okay? I am dropping this on November 4th, 2025. That is the day that I turn 21. And thank you to every version of me before right now for getting me here. And you should feel the same gratitude for yourself for getting you here right now. Thank you for watching. Much love. Peace out.